By now, my returning viewers will know that this channel, the channel that I'm filming on, intends to focus on a lot of different social issues. And when you make a channel like this, when you talk about matters like this, if you're giving it a fair shot, sometimes you talk about opinions and facts that you may not necessarily agree with, right? And that's actually the beauty of it. That's the thing that I enjoy the most, because you get to hear different opinions and stuff like that. So, a couple of days ago, I filmed a video. I don't know when it will be out related to this one, but it's already been published, where I spoke about the fact that I would personally rather earn the amount of money that I earn running all my businesses than have a job and get paid maybe double. Now, I won't lie, and I'll cut the video short because, I don't, well, I want you guys to watch it, but I don't want you guys to have to wait 30 minutes, so I'll leave a long story short. And the long story short is, at this stage, I have a few businesses. I make enough money to basically live off. Yes, I don't live a very, not prosperous, but affluent life, but I'm pretty happy. I've got freedom. I'm out right now. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm not in an office. I've got no real complaints. So for the time being, that's why I would rather pick this lifestyle. Now, if you gave me 3 or 4 or 5 times the amount of money I earned by myself and said that I had to work 40 hours, I'm taking that, no doubt about it. But at double, the amount that I'd make would be offset with a lot of the cost of transportation and lunch and stuff like that anyway, and also with the difference when all of that stuff's taken out, we're at a point where it's like, okay, well, so what do you really have? You've got a lot less free time and a lot more challenge. But that's a different point, because I'm not here today to talk about how people earn their money. I'm here to talk about how much money people earn, and this is going off of my personal life experience. And people might be looking right now and saying, and I'm sure it's already going to be left in the comment section, well, you don't know about money because you only look really young. Okay, fair enough, that's probably true. I probably don't know that much about money, I won't even lie. But I've done my best to educate myself, and more than education, I've got one thing which I see as extremely valuable, and that's genuine experience. As I've said before, when I was growing up, money was not, it was not easy to come by, right? Things were fine, I'm not going to say they weren't, but it wasn't like, if you wanted some extra cash, it was very easily available. It wasn't like that. So I've seen the poor end of things, right? And I'm not going to lie, in terms of this country and countries like this one, the UK, there's no real problems in the world, right? There might be bad weather, but hey ho. There might be, I don't know, some issues. There's some issues, but what I'm saying is there's no wars. It's a peaceful country. It's a peaceful place to live. So the real problem that we have here is making sure you can have a nice life in these conditions, and that does require money. So the reason why I bring that up is I understand that when we talk about perhaps Western countries or developed countries or peaceful countries or whatever, when you are poor, you're probably in one of the worst and most depressing positions that you can be in these countries. So I get that side of things, and I always will. That's an experience that I'm actually glad that I had when I was younger, because it taught me so much. And it taught me that even though money is nothing in the world of things, it's not a real thing, it's something that everyone should try and get. Again, viewers will know I try and practice what I preach, and in the context of this, I've been working on all sorts of businesses really for the last probably 8 years now. It started off with a YouTube channel, not this one. Had a lot of success with that. That channel's not about anymore. Had another channel, similar thing. And then, come to where we are after that, I started reselling. Now I'm content creating again, which you're watching. And obviously on top of that, I have a few other things like my Patreon page, which you can join, link is in my bio, and you'll learn how to resell like I do. But what I'm saying here is this, okay? I understand how having not much money is a really big thing, and it's not a fun time to be in. Love is probably the most important thing in the world. Friends is very important. Care is very important, people that care about you, and all that is really, really important. And money comes way below those. But what I'm saying is this, let's talk about the importance of money, because yes, other things are more important, but let's not say it's not one of the more important things in the world, because it is. Now what I'm saying is, over the years, I've seen my life change, right? I still think that there's a long way to go. I really do. But when I was a teenager, and I started to actually think about these things, think about getting money, think about getting out of the trap, right? The trap of being broke, I actually felt more trapped. It was like the more I learnt about money, the worse I felt. because I saw the fact that, you know, loads of people actually have loads of money, and really it seems to be easy enough to get and it's easy enough to spend. You see big companies spending millions and billions, and then you think, okay, I'm going to give it my big shot, I'm going to give it my big attempt at making a business, and you do, and it just doesn't work. And you do it again and again, it doesn't work, and you try one thing and it works a bit and you don't make that much. The more I learnt about money, the more trapped I felt. So when you're really poor and broke and in a bad position, it's true. It's a bad feeling. But you start to get to a point when you do start to make it, where, and it's a point that I'm not fully at, because there's a few things that I'd like to achieve more in life, and I'm not saying that's me giving up. Even when I've achieved the few extras that I want in life, that's not me saying I'm finished, right? There's a long way for my journey to go, and I don't really want to stop until I've maximised my potential, and I think that will come at a point where I'm either mentally incapacitated, or dead. So I don't intend to give up just once these things happen. But for life to be basically perfect now, obviously there's certain things. I'm kind of still recovering from the flu. You can't control your health and stuff like that, but in terms of actually things that you can control, right, I'd like a car that was more reliable and didn't feel like it was breaking down every 5 minutes. I'd like the ability to go on holiday more, and I'd like the ability to buy more things when I want to. But these are real privileges now. We're now getting from a point of not understanding how money worked at all to now having privilege, right? So I'm not complaining, but I'm saying this is what I want next. But when you get to a point at this stage and there, because it doesn't take as much money as people might think to get there. And obviously people might say it does, it depends. You know, I might say I want a nice car that works every time. That might mean a Toyota Prius, it might mean a Porsche 911, it just depends on the person. But I'm saying, right, it doesn't take an awfully large amount of money. I think if I was to start earning complete profits, not revenue, complete profits, actually money that I bank every single year, maybe 50 or 60,000, life couldn't really get much better at that point. Yes, there could be better things. I could have a nicer house, a better car, faster car, more holidays even then, but then you get into a point of absolute privilege, right? What I'm saying is this: when I was a lot more broke, I felt like the only way to get what you want was millions, a real lot of money. Now I understand, yeah, I still want the millions because it would be nice to have a Ferrari and see how that feels, and go on the holiday to this place and see how it feels to live there and that. But what I'm saying is, I thought it would have taken millions to have a really fulfilling life. Like I say, it might take about 50 or 60,000 really at this stage. And that's still a really nice amount of money. It's still a lot of money to try and earn for yourself, whether that's in a job or in a business. There's much more to earn in a business because it's much more challenging. But what I'm saying is this: as I start to actually get money, right, because someone who doesn't have money, and as a younger person, someone who's never had money, you don't understand what it actually is. And that sounds stupid because everyone understands what money is. It's something that you go and spend in the shops. Even if you're not rich, if you're the poorest person in the world, you've got to eat somehow, so you've probably used money to pay for things, so you understand how it works. But you don't understand how it really works. You don't understand that a reasonable car only costs a couple of thousand, maybe 10, 15,000. You don't understand the fact that a holiday can cost as little as £1,000. When you're poor, that seems like an awfully large amount. But when you start to actually realise what you want in life, it's not hard and it's not impossible. So why have I said this? Why is this a basis for this video? And there is a reason. Because even though I still want to achieve these nicer things in life, I understand all that's going to happen from a point of maybe doubling my income from where it currently is. If I doubled it again, there will be some life improvements. If I doubled it again after that, there wouldn't be any real life improvements. There'd be more privilege. Again, we're not talking about reliable cars, we're talking about fast cars. We're not talking about nice holidays, we're talking about luxurious stays and stuff like that. We'd be in a world of extreme privilege, and that's great to have, and that's obviously what everyone wants. But we also need to understand that your average person just doesn't understand money very well. And that is probably why they both work so hard for it and chase it so much. Again, everybody wants different things in life, but if you actually think about everything you can buy if your income was just 100,000, it's probably almost everything that humans could want. Now, like I say, privilege will increase from that point. Maybe you can't afford a Lambo. Maybe you can't afford a private jet or a yacht. Obviously not. But in terms of what you actually want and need in life, everything's probably taken care of from there. Now, like I say, there's always going to be people who want to run businesses and try new things and build empires and stuff like that. And these are the people that we need in the world. So I'm not going to say otherwise. I want to be one of these people myself. So I don't disagree with that argument at all. But what I do think is people are lied to on one front. They're told that they need an awfully large amount of money to live the lifestyle that they want, when in actuality it's probably not that true. I mean, it's a difficult thing because I don't know what everybody wants different things, and it's hard to say without obviously looking at everybody's different situation. And we don't have time to do that in a video like this. But you have the time to do that by yourself. What is it that you want, and how much does that really cost? Because we speak about big business a lot on this channel, right? Obviously not all companies at all. Some are really, really good. But a lot of big companies do want people to work forever. They want them to be units of productivity and labour. And I can't lie, right? I cannot lie. I think that's the reason why the lifestyle is sold to us so much. Because if a company wants to use you for money, for work, they're going to try and do everything that makes you incentivized to do that. And in the context of society, it's like that's all that society wants. It seems to just want workers. So if that's what you want, what's the way to get that? Well, it's to pay them. And that's why people go to work. That's why people have jobs. But once they have all of their genuine needs taken care of, what's the next step? Well, yeah, you're doing well in life, but you need this car, you need this house, you need this, which always is going to keep you trapped. Now, I'm not saying that you don't want to need it, right? I've always, since even being almost a baby, been a big fan of cars. I think it's a natural sort of obsession. So for me to kind of put cars on the back burner is something that I have done, right? Because I just bought my car this year, like last year, 2023. I had the license for 2 years before that, right? But I mean, if I was to get even more rich, I would buy a nicer car. I love cars. It's what I would spend my money on. Some people would spend it on different things, and no, I wouldn't do it to be flashy. I'd do it because I love cars. And I always have. But what I'm saying is this, right? Even with that in mind, that's something that you actually want. But what I'm saying is most people don't have a big car obsession. They don't even really want the stuff that they buy. And another big thing I've found is when you actually have the money for something, it seems like a lot of the time you want it a little bit less. And that might sound like a weird thing, but what I mean is, when I was really, really poor, right, I could barely afford, well, very much. I always want to have the latest technology and all that stuff. And to an extent I still do, right? I just bought a MacBook and I've got a relatively new phone, but I don't feel the need to chase it just because it's the new thing or it's a status symbol or it's cool. I don't feel that anymore. I mean, maybe there is an element of wanting to prove yourself, and once you've actually done the work that goes into that, you don't want to prove it anymore. But what I'm saying is, even if you were to earn a lot more money, there'd still be expensive things, probably things outside of your price range, that you'd still want. And of course, it's about thinking about whether that's worth it, right? If I had the money, like I say, I would buy some sports cars straight away. Not even just sports cars, loads of different cars, classic American cars. But this is not a video on my opinions on what cars are the best, is it? It's a video talking about money. And my point is this, right? If you want things, and if it's worth you working towards them, earn them. Seriously, it's worth it, because even if you have to work a bit harder, there's nothing nicer than the feeling of having something you've always wanted. But a lot of stuff people don't necessarily want, and it's just sold to them because it's a cool thing, or it's a trendy thing, or it's the thing that means that you're rich, even though the rich person who's got this thing is paying on 10-year finance plans for it. So there's that argument to it, but also there's the fact that, hey, we're in a society where money is the only goal. And stuff is the only goal, right? Like I say, if you really do want some stuff, get it. Because if you can find a way, it's worth it. But if you don't want that much stuff, and if it's just for society's gratitude and that way of doing things, look, you don't necessarily always get it. And it doesn't always matter. And when you've got a point that you can get it, it doesn't matter. You don't feel as proud. You know, it's been through a few crashes, but I've got this bike, right? It's got some paint scuffs on it, but I've got this bike, right? It's quite an expensive bike. It's got custom basically everything, to be honest. And I get people all the time, people who are bikers and stuff like that, they say it's a really nice bike, and I'm like, that's cool, but really I don't mind, right? I'm not seeking the validation of others with something like this. And the same will probably be true when I get even nicer things, nicer cars and stuff like that. I don't want it for other people, I want it for me. So you've got to filter out what you want and filter out whether it is actually worth you making the lifestyle choices for it, because like I say, there's certain things that I do want right now that I'm not willing to take the sacrifices for. You know, I'd love to live in a massive skyscraper apartment, but I wouldn't love to pay £3 a month in rent at this stage in life. It just makes no sense. So I've got to ask myself, what is life about, right? What's worth it in this life? You will probably have to work harder to double your income. It's almost inevitable, right? In some way you'll have to increase your value, whether it's to your company, to your clients, your customers, whatever. You're going to have to increase your value, which is going to mean either providing more man hours, more physical presence, more labour, or finding a way in some other way to increase your income and skill set. Now, like I said at the start of the video, it's not even necessarily a message that I completely agree with. I do agree with it to some extent, because I'm not going to give away my life to big business if I don't have to. I'm definitely not going to put in extra hours just because it gets me something nice, because basically it can be worth it depending on what the item is. But if it's just a status symbol, I'd rather keep my freedom. I've already got a fairly okay life where everything's paid for, like I say, and I make enough for me at the minute. So for this point in my life, I'm pretty much happy. But going forwards into the future, what I'm saying is I won't be giving up massive amounts of my free time for just status items. It doesn't make sense. I always say, if people have responsibilities, I completely understand it. If you have to pay for things, you're going to have to make some money, so it makes sense. But when we talk about making an awful amount of money, an awfully large amount of money, it's not an awful amount, it's a great amount, but an awfully large amount, let's say, to word it better. I think everybody's got their point in life where they find contentment, and I don't know what that is for everybody. It's not really my job to find that for everybody, right? I'm starting to figure what it is for myself, and like I say, there's always things to go from there. But what I do mean is this: society is always going to tell you that more money is the answer, even if you're making an awful lot. You know, you'd be a multi-millionaire, it's like, okay, well, there's billionaires out there, so now you don't feel very successful, so it's time to go back to work. It all benefits the system, right? And life's for living. Life is definitely for living, in my opinion. It's not for wasting in an office all day, every day, for 40 to 60 years. I think that really would be a shame. I really do believe that there's people out there who will continue, right? They'll have everything that they want, because at that point it is quite hard to continue. If you've got everything paid for, if you've got everything that you want, how do you keep going to progressing? Because you're not really chasing anything. There's only a certain type of person who will do that, and it's not everybody. It's a very small select amount of people, I believe. But for most people, right, they will still chase after the money, regardless of absolutely anything else. And it's a message that's deeply put into us. And I think this video kind of ties into the one that I filmed just yesterday. Obviously, at every single point in life, there's stuff that money can't buy. Happiness. It can to an extent buy freedom, but health. But once everything that money can take care of is taken care of, and once you've got enough to live on, enough to sustain your lifestyle and keep you going, and you've got that money coming in consistently, right? Because you can't give up if you don't know where it's coming from next. But what comes next? What comes next? Is it just continuing to work, be in the system? Is there a benefit that comes with that? Is it going to live a life of freedom? Is it enjoying the world as it is? I don't know. But I think for a lot of people, right, the goal is always chasing money until the end of their life, right? You make a nice amount of money, okay, well now you can get a nicer car. You make a nice amount of money again, now you can get a nicer house. You make a nicer amount of money, now you've got the opportunity to go on holiday 2 more times a year. So you're always chasing up that ladder. But not enough people ask whether that's worth it for them. And I'm not saying that having all these great things isn't worth it. That's a great privilege. But what I'm saying is it worth what you have to trade in, right? Because Work is a contract. It's a two-way thing, right? If you do work and get paid for it, the downside is that you have to do work and show up for it. It's not necessarily a bad thing. You might love what you do. But for a lot of people, I see complaints about hating their job. It's because they're always chasing this lifestyle and they always want the next thing. So once all of the core needs are taken care of in life, what does come next? I'm not even answering the question here. I'm asking it with a bit of my opinions kind of thrown in along the way, a bit of my experience. I don't even know, right? I'm trying to figure that out both for myself and hopefully to tell you guys. But I think life's a really interesting thing, but I do think that it's there to be lived. Work means different things for different people. It appears that I'm in rush hour now. We've got a train on this side. We've got a train on this side and we've got cars on that side. So everyone who's on the train, probably on their commute back, and everybody who's in the car, obviously on the commute back too, it has a different way of work, right? Some of them work in offices, some of them work in shops. Some of them might even be doing some online business that I've done. I've been working in coffee shops. So it means different things to everybody, and whether that's worth it to you, I don't know. For me, I think it is. I run a few online businesses. That's a great thing. It means that I can be doing my work in theory on this park bench. It means I can be doing my work in the park. It means I can be doing my work in the coffee shop over there. I don't know if you saw it. It means I can be doing my work on a beach in Thailand. If there's an internet connection and a device to use it, I can be doing my work. We all gain different things from our work, and we all want different things from our work. So there's not a one-size-fits-all approach, but what I am going to say is this. I think that we live in a society that obviously prioritises money. We've spoken about that numerous times. But we also live in a society that subsequently prioritises work over actual happiness and stuff like that. So does all of the stuff that you're working towards make you happy? I don't know. Because I think you get past a certain point where once all of your bills and stuff are taken care of, and your family are looked after, and you've not got any concerns financially, and you've got a good amount of savings and all that as well, because don't forget, it's not just about what you earn, and you've got good investments. What's next? I have to say it's a big question that I've had recently, because like I say, if I had double, maybe more, maybe triple at a real push, the money that I had now, I don't know how life would get that much better. Again, it'd just be nicer things of what I already have. So maybe I'm wrong, maybe my opinion's just I don't know, not a common one. Or maybe I'm right, and maybe it's a case that we do prioritise work too much, and we do prioritise just getting stuff for the sake of getting stuff, and maybe it's not making us happy, and maybe that could be why a lot of people find themselves in an unfulfilled life position, because they're not chasing their dreams, they're chasing corporate aims in a corporatised society. Thinking for yourself is very important. Even if you disagree with me, that's completely fine. I just want to hear your opinions in the comments. So let me know your thoughts down below. I'd love to hear them, and thank you for watching. Again, even if you don't agree with me, I really do appreciate hearing everybody's opinions. So drop me a comment, tell me what you think, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.